How are we all doing? Good? Perfect. I know it's just after lunch and you guys are probably sort of swelling down, sitting in your couches, so we want to give you something high impact. And we're here to talk about something that's very close to my heart, music and its ability to drive engagement and impact. If that's your mom, you can pick it up. That's okay. I'm gonna do a little short intro. We got an amazing panel, and it's just so unfair because it kind of seems like I'm the break before what you really wanna, listen to, which is Tinie, obviously. But we got some amazing people with us today. We got Cindy, ex-PepsiCo, Heineken, and just recently joined Tenzing. This amazing gentleman doesn't really need much more introduction, I think. Tinie, you speak for yourself. And then we got Stephen from Rockcore, and we're going to talk a lot more about Rockcore. My name is Thomas, and I'm from Goodvertising, and I've been on a mission for the last 2 decades or so in terms of trying to enable positive change. Let's cut the bullshit around the positive change. Basically, it's just about building brands that are a little bit more meaningful and that are better at creating engagement. For the most part, I think, unfortunately, we have failed as an industry in so many ways because, kind of as I said, on the little commercial break before we get to Tinie, and I think that's how most of people watch our craft at the moment. It's like this little 30-second prison sentence before the real content comes that you actually want to see. The challenge is right now, it's not really, I think, going in a better direction. AI, all these technologies, what are we going to use with them? What are we going to use them for? It doesn't really seem like the craft is getting better. I can see I'm not the only one who got gray hair. There's a few other people with gray hair in the crowd. And you'll probably agree with me. It does seem like over 2 decades in advertising, is what we're doing really becoming better? Or is it becoming worse? And I think this is really what I want to challenge here today, is how can we unite the two things? What is doing good about? I wrote a book called Goodvertising before any of this stuff was ever really cool. Now, unfortunately, what have happened is that every brand talks about doing good, diversity and inclusion, all this other stuff. And in so many ways, that's why I had to write a second book called The Hero Trap. Because if you think about it, what brands have in fact created positive change in your life? So there's a lot of claims out there. The little secret, I think, is to talk about things that people truly care about. So let's not use the word sustainability, but care. Because I think that's what sustainability is ultimately about. It's about our communities. It's about fresh air. It's about a London that's actually easy to navigate in. I'm from Copenhagen, so for me being on the tube, it's just a horrendous experience most of the time. And so that's what music delivers, right? It is this ability to connect with people more than most. And so we're going to delve into this amazing little intersection. Mm-hmm. And just to kick this off, a little pop quiz before we start. So just to see if any of you are sort of attuned to music and impact. So let's see who can guess this first, just to involve you guys a little bit. Okay, so I want the name of the song, which was a tune that was used for a public transportation company talking about train safety. Any clues? Australian? Come on. There we go. Perfect, perfect. There's one book for you. There's one book for you. That's what we're going to do. Well done, well done. So that's what's wrong with advertising. You guys should be able to know that stuff, This is before AI. You shouldn't ask AI about this stuff. Anyway, so Steve and I, last time we met, it was at Soho House, Istanbul. We had Negronis. Now, unfortunately, we have water, not even Tenzing. What's happening with this? You amazed me. The story, the impact you've been driving in terms of integrating music and impact is just marvelous. But I want to give people the chance just to experience that a little bit for themselves. I think we're going to have a little bit of a video, and then let's delve into what Rockcore is about. So let's roll the video.
The basic concept of Rockcore is to motivate kids to give back to the community.
4 hours, 1 ticket.
To have a hip-hop show here tonight is amazing, you know what I'm saying?
I just think that it's extremely important that we all help in some kind of a way.
What makes this organization so special is that it makes volunteer work a bit fashionable.
Et j'ai trouvé que les jeunes étaient super, mais vraiment super.
Rockcore is the coolest thing you could ever do in your life. Come back next year and do it again.
Can we go back? This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we brought our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
Give 4 hours, get given 1 ticket. But much more than that, it's a call to action, but also a life ethos. The more we give to our friendships, our families, our communities, the more we get given in return.
Can we go back? Peu importe la couleur, peu importe d'où tu viens, il y a tout style mélangé, il n'y a pas une catégorie précise.
I love the idea of helping others and being a part of something bigger than just you.
Applause, right? Come on. And Tinie as well, and we're going to come back to that very, very soon. How many of you know about rockcore? Hands up. Shame on you. Anyways, we got a little bit of explanation time, right? Stephen, what is rockcore about, and how did you sort of manage the scale? I mean, plus hundreds of thousands of volunteers across countries. Can you tell us a little bit about how you sort of achieved that scale? I mean,
Yeah, sure,
wow.
and thank you for that, and thanks for all your support over the years, and thanks everybody for being here. It's just a real privilege to be able to talk about it together with Tinie and Cindy. So rockcore is super simple. We produce these gigs around the world. You can't buy a ticket. To get in, you have to do 4 hours of volunteer work. We aim at 16 to 35-year-olds. You've got to do 4 hours of work at a volunteer project we organize that benefit a local charity. Could be anything, a food bank, a homeless shelter, a care home, a park, a clinic. You come down, you do 4 hours of work, you get a ticket to the gig. We use the concert ticket as a carrot, as an incentive to get people to try volunteering for the first time. And it works. Once they've come, after the concert, within 6 months, somewhere between, depending on the country, 45 to 60% have gone back and volunteered again. So they become active citizens. They discover their volunteer muscle, and they do it again and again.
And I think this is one of the things I love, because this is not just about a brand talking about the doing good. You integrate into the communities. People are doing some amazing volunteering work. How do you think brands connect with this? Because for the most time, as I said introductory-wise, I think a lot of brands get this wrong. It doesn't seem authentic, and there's something that's so compelling for me about your model. So can you help us? What is it you get right that the brands don't get right?
So the big unlock for us was treating this as a brand partner platform, which is what it is. This isn't. It's not set up. Our partners are the charities, the nonprofits. Rockcore is a brand partner platform. That concert you saw there, where we had the 200,000th volunteer, that's a partnership with Ibis Hotels in France. And so the reason why, and we had this idea, you can tell from my accent, I'm American by birth, British by choice. We had this idea in New York.
Yes.
That we should work with brands, because our brand partners, you want to be around people's passions and be able to partner and experience that together with your potential customers, your audience, around film, music, fashion, sport, food. But we had this idea, what if the brand partner enabled somebody, their audience, to go out and build a school before going to the concert? It's one thing to be present in a musical experience, but what if we filled a food pantry? What if we built beds in a homeless shelter with the brand inviting them to do that, and then we go have a boogie? That takes that experience on a rocket ship, and it's super powerful. So that's the model.
So, Tinie, we just talked about how we missed each other in Copenhagen, which was a bit unfortunate. You were there, I was here, bad timing.
Yeah.
You have been, and I really love this, and it shows, and it's a testament to the strength of what Rockcore is doing. You've been doing work with these guys for 20 odd years.
Mental, innit?
I mean,
I don't look that old though, do I?
no, exactly.
It's crazy.
Started
right?
when you were 8, right?
Yeah. Started when I was like 5.
Yeah.
Exactly. Three kids later.
There you go.
Yeah. What sort of kicks, like what draws you to this platform as an artist? What is it that sort of make you tick around sort of the Rockcore experience?
Well, yeah. Firstly, I really like Stephen. That always helps. And
We've
kind
got
of
one
like,
friend now.
Yeah, and kind of like, resonate with his vision and his kind of idea for what Rockcore is. But I think the thing that really gets me is the strong sense of community that it builds. I think even if we look at where we're at today, like young people are kind of struggling to find things to kind of do together in a safe, kind of like progressive way. And the fact that, anyone in theory can kind of go and see a concert, whether you're buying a ticket, whether you've been gifted a ticket, whether it's a free gig, a free festival. But the fact that you have to kind of, create something, pay it forward to your community. And, what I liked about all the stats at the end is actually beyond that, create some lasting impact, some legacy, things that will stand way beyond the concert day, way beyond the initial meeting. Is something that was really powerful to me. The first gig I did, we did it in Ladbroke Grove, and there was a skate park, and the skate park was kind of in ruins, and you were able to mobilize a bunch of young people to get down, get the skate park into shape. They made a nice little mural of me at the time, which was amazing. I went past there the other day, the mural's gone, but
We're going to fix it. We're going to fix that, my brother.
But you need to put that back.
Hang on somebody's bedroom wall, probably.
Yeah, but the skate park still looks phenomenal. And I think one of the most powerful things about the activation itself is that it brings community together. Imagine if you were going to a concert, let's say with the same people, but you hadn't had this activation or interaction. You would get your ticket, you'd go and see the show, enjoy the show with your friends or your family, and you'd leave. I think what this does is it's able to not only create lasting impact, but bring a community of people together that might not necessarily know each other. And when you're dedicating, 4 hours of your time to doing something good for your community, I guess it allows to build relationships that will kind of last a lot longer than the event itself. So for me, that was always the draw, and I'm happy to have been a part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting that in a time where brands are so often giving away things for free, come do this, win this, you actually have to work for it.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that I love about this, you actually also have to go and do a bit of volunteering.
Yeah.
Yourself,
Of
right?
course, yeah. So that's also the thing. I think now we have, broadcast channels on social media, or for example, when I did my London date last November, we did a little run club where we basically started in a part of London and ran to the venue, and fans got involved, and it was really fun. However, Rockcore, you've kind of been doing this, for the last 20 years. I think the fact that the artists themselves, all the names that you saw, have to go down and dedicate a bit of their time, amongst their schedule, their family life, etc., etc. Again, it kind of brings you all close together, makes you kind of, puts you on the same level playing field, and just makes the experience and the concert especially more meaningful,
And you've done some of them right now. Paris, Manchester, Sydney.
Yeah.
Can you feel a difference in the room as an artist? You're up there, you're doing your usual gig, and then you're doing your gig for some people who invest the time together. Can you feel a little bit of that magic, a little bit of that experience?
I can feel a little bit of the difference. Like I said just now, I think being able to look into the crowd and see the whites of the eyes of people that you've actually spent time with outside of the concert is a beautiful thing. Knowing that, the ultimate end result is not just commercial, it's not just for profits, it's not ticket sales per se or anything like that. You've actually made a difference in the community is also positive. And I think in a time now where everything is disposable, even if you're not necessarily immersing yourself in the experience, but just by, social media alone, being able to scroll and sort of passively enjoy an experience, I think the fact that you have to earn it You know, you can't. It's exclusive in a sense because you can't just buy your way in, or you can't just ask a mate. You have to actually earn it yourself. You see that coming out of the people who are enjoying the concert.
Yeah, it becomes. I think what I picked up as well. It becomes this shared mission, which is amazing. Like this conversation between you on stage, the people in the crowd who actually invested their time in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done a lot of brand partnerships over the years as well, and one of the things I always love to talk about is the power of purpose. Mm-hmm. That feeling that transcends just the transactional nature of our business. Let's be honest. And I think there's something deeper in that emotion when you touch it, whether that is the feeling you had at that skate park or supporting homeless shelters, whatever it is. Do you think, what is it that brands most of the time get wrong in this space? And what draws you to these types of campaigns that are led by purpose?
Yeah, I think not all brands, but I think a lot of brands underestimate the savviness or the intelligence of their target customer. I think it's true.
Sorry, guys.
Well, you guys should all clap. Come on, man. No, but I think it's true. I think, I think they kind of underestimate. They think, let me put something nice and shiny in front of an audience, have the right backing music, etc. Yeah. Maybe have an influencer on board, and it should fly off the shelves. However, audiences are a lot more savvy. They're a lot more intelligent. They know what they want. They know what they're looking for, contrary to belief. And I guess they're a lot more educated on brands. Now we have all these apps and platforms that can tell you whether something is good for you or healthy or good for the environment. And I think a lot of brands kind of are naive to that and kind of neglect that. And I think people are looking for, like you said earlier, Thomas, people are looking for brands that have purpose, brands that are actually trying to make a difference, and brands that are actually good for us, ultimately.
Yeah, it's so interesting. As I said, introductory-wise, it's almost like we're missing that point completely in our sort of endeavors and going into digitalization, all that stuff that we actually forget. I would say that my niece is probably a better content creator than most CMOs.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit embarrassing, right?
No, it's evolution. It's the way it goes, man.
Yeah. Obviously, we need to touch on what's up for you at the moment. I mean, putting rockcore aside and the amazing work that you're going to do. You have an upcoming gig soon. Where's the next gig, actually?
Yeah, so we have another gig that we're doing 20 years later, which is amazing, at Rock City in Nottingham. So I'm really excited for the activation.
Any applause says Nottingham? There's nobody there from Nottingham? Yeah. One person. Great.
Yeah, we'll see you there. We'll see you there.
Good. We're going to give a Nottingham.
Yeah, there you go. Go for it. Yeah.
Oh, careful.
There you go. So we have that coming up, which I'm really excited about. And then, just getting back to music. I took a hiatus. I kind of settled down and, did all the things that I wanted to do in my personal life. And, music has just called me back again. And in a time now where, just bigging up Rock Court one more time, we're losing a lot of our nighttime culture. We're losing a lot of our venues where young people can come together and converge regardless of, age, sex, race, religious background, which is quite a scary thing because when I think of the next generation of talent, they're not necessarily, if we don't change things now, they're not necessarily going to have the same stages and platforms that we had to do our 10,000 hours and to build our community, which is ultimately what this is about. And outside of that, I'm kind of just dipping my fingers into various different pies, as you do, when I'm trying to get my mogul on. So just trying to challenge myself in any area that feels creative, trying to support startup businesses as well by way of angel investment, and just trying to help the next generation and prepare them to be able to have even longer careers than we have been able to.
And I also want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to make it here today. I know you have a train to catch just after this to go to the award show.
Yeah, to the Mobos.
Yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time.
No, that's all good, man.
So Cindy, obviously there has been a lot of heated words in terms of what brands are getting wrong. You have worked and formerly with brands like PepsiCo and Heineken, etc. And we're going to come to Tenzing in just a minute. But do you think that brands can really be part of culture?
Yes, I do. And I think we really need to evolve as big brands, because I think it's, on the one hand, brands are still thinking too much about their message instead of why would people care? There's so many other products that are similar. Why would people actually invite you into their lives? And I think that brings you in an area of what can you contribute to the things you do, the events where you show up. And I think Pepsi and Heineken actually really went through a whole evolution of starting as sponsors of music, because music was always important, of course, in brands like Pepsi and Heineken, where it's about connection and coming together. But now they're really looking at how can we contribute to the events that we participate in. So, example, when PepsiCo joined the Champions League as a sponsor, they brought actually the Super Bowl intro with music and real spectacle to an event that otherwise was really focused on football only, and it brought a really different kind of vibe. And immediately they were there. So I was working at the time at Heineken, but I thought, wow, they got this right. And likewise, Heineken is not only looking at providing products at the bar, but is really looking at their brands and what the brands can do to make a festival more interesting. So especially the cider brands, Strongbow Dark Fruit, really growing through festival life. And people, if you Google it, people have tattoos, they have wedding cakes, just because the brand reminds them to times that they really enjoyed themselves, but also because of the additional activations at festivals. And same with Old Mood, which is really focused on environment and therefore always cleans the place. And yeah, I think that is really evolving. I think another point, kind of next to the things you mentioned, is consistency. It's still so that brands are not always consistent. Every 3 years, another brand director and a brand changes, and people feel that. So that's why a lot of the challenger brands actually that are built around a real belief and a vision and a purpose are much more consistent in how they drive the brand. And you can see that even in brands like Heineken, who have the family still behind them, there is consistency in how they show up.
I think you're absolutely right. I think we've done some research with Walk, where we looked at 11 years of the most effective campaigns globally. So 100 of the most effective campaigns globally. Interestingly enough, 1/3 of those had an environmental or social theme, and another thing that actually showed up was consistency. Brands like Dove and others that just keep going at it, that's not changing the mission. Maybe we should get a Rockcore tattoo at some point, by the way. When you say, if somebody's getting a Heineken tattoo, we need a Rockcore tattoo.
It exists.
It exists? Yeah. Okay. Should we see it now? Yeah, it's got to be backstage. Anyways, no, but I think, and why I really like to have you join this panel today is also your journey, because coming from big brands and now you're joining let's be honest, a completely different type of brand. I think these days we love to call them challenger brands. Tenzing. So it's a different way of thinking. And I know we've been throwing community around quite a lot today, but what do you think is the difference between sort of the more Tenzing way of looking at community?
Yeah, so Tenzing is a 100% natural energy drink and is really built from the belief of life is too good for bad energy, is kind of the vision and the slogan and however you call it. But you see it back in everything. The product delivers and is kind of 100% clean label. But I think even more important, it's really built community out. So hiking and bouldering are key communities for Tenzing. And from the start, they've worked with the family of Norgay Tenzing, the Sherpa, who climbed the Everest. So they're still involved in local communities cleaning the Everest. And there's now a new, for the new season, an initiative where they help the local community with Bring Me Back bags, where the local teams gather all the garbage, because it's a garbage trail, to be honest. And then there are specific bags that are filled, and the Tenzing team helps to inspire people to bring 1 or 2 or 3 extra. So not only your own garbage, but extra back down, because that's a long way, of course. But they also really play at the intersection of music, adventure, climbing. They have their own climbing festival. Climbing is a very individual sport, and people kind of help each other, but it is still individual. And they brought this music festival to climbing, and added also a bit of competition, because there was nowhere a place where you could compete and represent your own wall, and people are very attached to their own wall. So people from all over Europe representing their walls compete together, party together, and it's really evolving that community.
And that's, I know exactly the thing you talked a lot about, Stephen, in sort of creating rockcore, this idea that it's not just attention, but participation actually matters. Can you maybe talk a little bit to that?
Yeah, for sure. And first, I have to trade it back, because thanks, Tinie, for all the good words about rockcore. Please come and see him perform, because this is nice, and it's nice to talk, but come see this man perform. Not only is he one of the coolest dudes I know, but he's given us so much great music. Come up to Nottingham, see him on the 8th of April. And tonight on the Mobos, I just have to give that shout out, Thomas, because it's the 30th year of the Mobos. Tinie's giving out a big award. It's live on YouTube. It's live on BBC. Mobos have done so much for black music, young black musicians, incredible piece of the culture here. So, like I say, as an American who's converted into a Brit, there's no zealot like a convert. And so check Tinie out tonight on the Mobos. In terms of participation, so imagine that you are 17, 21, 25, and you hear about this thing, you really want to see Tinie, you really want to see one of these shows, you sign up and you go to one of these volunteer projects. And there you meet maybe 50 or 100 other people. Maybe you went with a friend, maybe you went with 100 other people. And you're just blown away at the end of 4 hours how much has been done. You know, a classroom's been built, a playground's been installed, a forest has been reforested. So you're really proud of that. And then you go to the arena, and there's 15,000 other people in there, and it hits you. Everybody in line, everybody's done the same thing. Everybody's done some action to get there. That's incredibly powerful. There's no strangers in those venues. Everybody's together in that gig. And it was the brand who invited you to do that. Not just reward you with music, but reward you as a person, enabled you to take agency in the place you live. Imagine that transference of that feeling going from the extrinsic desire to the intrinsic feeling, and it was the brand partner that invited you to do that. It's magic.
We unfortunately have to wrap up, but just one little finishing remark from your side. There's a lot of brands, there's a lot of agencies, media agencies, etc. If they're sitting, and hopefully they're sitting right now with some good budgets and thoughts, and you know they want to throw some money your way, how do they participate?
Thank you. And it's not throwing, it's investing, because the return is really incredible. And so Rockcore is not a sponsorship model, right? So we don't maintain a sort of consumer-facing, you don't sponsor us like you might do the Champions League or Reading and Leeds Festival. Instead, we partner with brands, and the whole thing becomes named after them. It becomes their program, their platform. They bring the reputation, the infrastructure in that country, the budget for sure, but it's the structure on which the program is hung. The artists bring the magic, the gold dust, the reach, the fame. The charities provide the credibility, the authenticity. All of that work that's generated out of that arena goes into real stuff happening in local neighborhoods. So it's real, it's credible. That stuff happens. And then we're kind of the engine inside that. We're the IP, we're the know-how. So that's how we create these platforms. It's an incredible sort of, I hate this cliche, but it is a win-win-win-win-win. Everybody there does the thing that they're good at, and everybody benefits. It's the whole, the sum is much greater than the parts. So that's it.
And I think that's an amazing way of summing this up. Maybe it's time our industry stops being so transactional and actually starts investing in communities, because I think that's where the real return is, the real heart. And I think all these 3 stories have sort of illustrated that from so many different angles. So thank you so much. Do support and go and chat to Stephen. You're going to hang around a little bit more. And best of luck, Tinie, today with giving out the award. And best of luck with the journey on 10-6. Thank you so much.